Official first live stream, and I just want to say hi to everybody, like my fans and all that. Anyway, I just wanted to basically just start a live stream a bit, like to talk with you guys, and also to like thank you all for 446 subscribers. I am so happy I was able to get up to this goal. And I just wanted to talk about some stuff. Like, I made up this thing I wanted to do for a while. How I believe I could fix Misty Island Rescue. Now, I know what you. Because some information from this actually does come from Unlucky Tug. So, yeah, go watch his, like, movie review video. And this is what I basically mean. This is how I believe I could fix Misty Island Rescue. The movie opens up basically the way as the original movie opens up. Like basically Thomas puffing around and all that. But okay, the movie basically plays out the way it did in the beginning, but we're gonna get to the docks part basically. Um anyway, I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm just a bit like nervous a bit considering this is my first live stream. Okay. Anyway, then we have the opening scene at the docks, where then we have 4 rows of cars, basically, four cars in each train. There's about 5 rows of cars filled with Jovi wood. Then I have it play out. So Tom Hat basically says is that I will decide at the end of the day who will take the train. Whoever works the hardest will get to pull it. Diesel says he deserves to pull the train, considering since he was the first diesel on Sodor and he's more useful than the Steamies. Now, I know I'm basically using basically the diesels versus Steamies trope, but I really do not mind, truthfully being honest, because I know it was used, like it's used a lot, like it was used in Calling All Engines and a bunch of other movies, but I just believe this is how it could work. Anyway, Thomas then says is that now, and this is that I do not have Thomas as basically how Unlucky Tug describes it as racism. Thomas basically says he's more useful. Yeah, I know that sounds a bit like the Thomas racism, but he's basically just like bragging a bit that steam engines can do better than diesels. So Diesel challenges him to a challenge, basically, saying it's whoever shunts the most trucks in the yard gets to take the logs later today. Thomas says, "You're on," so they race to the yards. Thomas and Diesel start shunting around the trucks. But when Thomas is shunting some trucks filled with bricks into a siding, he's having a bit of trouble, but Diesel then comes up with a plan. He actually sneaks out of the yards, but Thomas doesn't notice. Then Diesel goes back to the docks and takes one of the trains. In the log trains, I basically have it to where there's 4 trucks in each train. And there's about 5 rows of these because, as the Unlucky Tug says, in one of the scenes you can see the whole ship. It's filled with logs, so yeah. And you really suspect is that these 3 trucks filled with logs can build a search and rescue center. Yeah, I highly doubt that. So we basically turn it out like this then. Diesel takes one of the trains, believing that he deserves it. And it's basically like that quote, basically, if I can't have this job, then nobody can have it. So he decides he's going to take it on his own. But Thomas, when he sees Diesel, he doesn't understand. Now, yes, Diesel is technically stealing it. So then Thomas says, "Stop, Diesel, stop." But Diesel doesn't listen because he's wanting to prove that he's better than the steam engines. So Thomas starts chasing him. Diesel doesn't want him to have the train, so he quickly starts racing away. Now, the one question I always had is that how did Diesel end up on the track leading up towards an unfinished bridge? Was the signalman high on crack or something? Seriously, was he high on crack? So I basically have it then to where the signalman accidentally makes an error, basically. He doesn't know about Diesel coming. And the points are still, because apparently a construction train is meant to be heading up towards the bridge to help finish the construction. Until then, Diesel is accidentally diverted on that track. Thomas follows him and then realizes he's on the wrong track. He quickly whistles to Diesel to stop, stop, stop. But Diesel doesn't listen. He pushes harder, harder, and harder, till he makes it over the hill. When he notices the broken bridge, he applies his brakes with all his might. But then it's too late. The first truck falls off the bridge, bringing to the other. Diesel screams for help. Oh me, oh my, help! But nobody can hear him. The second truck then falls into the river below. Well, the ocean. Diesel and now one truck are still remaining on the bridge, but the last truck is about to fall. Help! Help! Says Diesel. Then the last truck breaks off. Then the last truck is in the sea of Joby Wood. Diesel is now hanging off the bridge, barely able to hang on until Thomas comes up and then pulls him back to safety. Now, in this scene, I basically have it to where, like how Unlucky Tug describes it, basically, is that to where Thomas gets a big head, basically. And he says is that you should not have done that. And Diesel says, I know. Thomas arrives back at Tim's sheds, and the engines start praising him, basically. And this is where Thomas gets the big head, basically. So Topham says is he wants Thomas to take the remaining Jovi wood to the search and rescue center. But Miss Jenny then informs him is that they don't have enough wood to build the rest of the search and rescue center. So Sir Tom Hatt goes to the mainland as to see if he can get more Jovi wood. But it turns out the mainland does not produce that type of wood. Until he goes to Hero. I have Hero play a bigger part in this movie a bit. Because basically going is that Hero in the original says is about the Jovi wood saying, this wood comes from my country. And he's referring to Japan. So I then basically have it to where Hero and Thomas are going to go to the mainland, to Japan, and get the Jovi wood. Now I know it's a bit confusing. Why send two engines? Well, it's because my reason being because Thomas in this part of the story has never been to another country before. Well, except Britain, basically. So, he doesn't know his way around Japan. And who knows better than Hero? I also have it basically say is that Hero's going home, basically. He had to return to Sodor for a bit, but now he's going to go home to Japan. So he says he'll help Thomas get to Jovi Wood and send him back. Then Spencer is going to the mainland. And Hero is loaded onto the top deck of the ship. Then they realize there's no room for Thomas. Either they send Hero on his own, or Thomas will have to figure out a way to get on board. Until Thomas then notices an old raft sitting by the dockside. He basically asks, why don't I ride on that? The dock manager was worried this was not seaworthy enough to hold a tank engine. Some inspectors do come in and inspect it and say it's worthy for sea, and worthy for Thomas to ride on it. So, the dock manager hesitantly agrees. And that's when we have that rhyme where I regretfully have to put in, I'm just putting this in for laughs, like, I make good decisions, that's what I was told. Yeah, basically just shut up, Thomas. Like, I like Thomas and Friends, but still, I do not want to hear that. You're not freaking Dr. Seuss. Seuss, what is this? Dr. Seuss, like Cat in the Hat and all that? I make good decisions, that's what I was told. I will not be fearful, I'll be brave and bold. Shut up. Anyway, Thomas is then loaded onto the barge. No, the rail ferry or something, whatever they call it. Percy and Thomas say goodbye to each other as Thomas sets out for sea. They stopped at the mainland to drop off Spencer, but Thomas says he'll stay on the raft until they get to Japan. Then, when Thomas is reloaded, he will put down the bottom deck while the logs will be put on top. When they get back to Japan, because Hero's not coming back with him. Anyway, Thomas still rides on the raft at sea, but then a storm starts brewing. Waves start coming. Hero is worried about Thomas, saying he should not be out on that raft during the storm. But Thomas doesn't care, saying he'll ride it out until the chain snaps. Thomas then whistles for help. Because I basically have it to where Thomas's driver and fireman are still in his cab, basically. Because, I mean, how do you suspect them to get off Thomas's, raft, basically? Like, I know it seems stupid about, why would they even be in Thomas's cab to begin with? Truthfully being honest, I have no explanation for that. But, I mean, you can't really say Thomas is moving around on his own on Misty Island, can you? Anyway, then, Thomas then gets lost out at sea. Thomas's driver and fireman decide to whistle for help again, but the ship is already too far out to hear them. Hero can't hear anything because he's in the decks, and the crew members can't hear it. The next morning, Thomas starts floating towards Misty Island. He then smacks onto the old ferry dock and ends up on Misty Island. His driver and fireman steam him up and they puff onto Misty Island. Thomas had heard the stories about Misty Island, but never heard. He didn't even suspect railway tracks there. He puffs around and then sees a bunch of old railway tracks. When he hears whistles. Woo! Thomas is confused and a bit scared. Thomas then sees the logging locos, being Bash, Dash, and Fernand. And I'll get to an explanation. And this here is what my headcanon is for why they are on Misty Island. You all ready to hear this? This is the reason I believe why Bash, Dash, and Fernand are on Misty Island and why they are like this. Here we go. This all goes back to World War II. Bash, Dash, and Fernand were used in America for a short while in a logging company in America. They were being used to help transport logs down to a lumber mill to be turned to wood. But then, during the Second World War, Britain had asked them to buy the logging locos so they can use them in some of their wood logging companies. So, America agrees and then sells the engines to Britain. British Railways then uses them on their rails. Or British, okay, you know what I mean, Britain's rails, basically, or I don't really know. They were sold to the company of the LMS, where then they worked for one of their logging companies, but they kept causing accidents. Because it wasn't technically their fault, because they weren't rebuilt to the British loading gauge. So, they couldn't really be blamed, but the managers did not like this, because this was during war times. But when the war ended, eventually, they needed logs. When British Railways was then formed in the 1940s, they had an idea. They noticed a small island out near Sodor, and decide, why don't we build a railway there to chop down wood? Until they find out there's Jovi wood there, the most strongest wood ever. They make a contract with Sir Topham Hatt to connect a tunnel that goes from there to Misty Island. No, actually, no, wait. I'm gonna cut that out because I hate that part of the movie. How does a tunnel go to Sodor and from Misty Island? How does that work? It would have to go under the ocean, basically, because we can see Misty Island is nowhere near on Sodor. It is over the sea. It would take a ship in order to get there. And that just really ticked me off, because how did they even build the tunnel? Isn't the tunnel still at threat of collapsing on top of them with all that water on them? Wouldn't they risk drowning if the tunnel collapsed with the water? Seriously, this move, that makes no sense. What are their magic buffers in there, and then they get transferred from Misty Island to Sodor? Bull. I'm calling absolute bull. Sir Topham, can you please stand it? That's the stupidest bull I've ever heard. So, I then basically have it like this. Here we go. Now back to the point about Bash, Dash, and Fernand. They make a contract with the Northwestern Railway to help them build a logging company on the island. Many people are sent there to live there to work, including the logging locos, to give people careers and all that as logging company. And that's where they start working. Until then, the railway starts to decline. It starts becoming too expensive to operate them because the island of Sodor no longer was in the contract to keep the railway running. And British Railways were already in their modernization plan at this point. So this meant was they didn't really have time for three little engines on a misty island. So they then decide to abandon the idea because they already found a company. They are already teamed up with Japan. They already made like a contract with Japan in order to deliver Jovi wood to Britain. So this means there's no really a need for the island anymore. So, sadly, unfortunately, is that they are just left there. Slowly, people start leaving, going back to Britain to get back their normal careers. But some men do stay and live on the island to keep the logging locos at work. Because they say, we just can't leave these 3 engines here to rust away. We could stay here and live here. Somebody's got to keep these engines company. So they agreed to stay with the logging locos. It wasn't easy managing a railway on their own, considering they had no financial support. They didn't have any ideas how to get food and all that. But they started then being able to hunt, basically. They would hunt their food. And no, I do not have Bash and Dash and Ferdinand eat. Like, basically, no, that's stupid. They're engines, they do not need to eat. But they then realized a small feature with these engines. But one that is a bit bad. They are oil burners. Which means is they don't really have to worry about getting water clean and all that for them. But the problem is there's not really a lot of oil on the whole island. They do have oil stations for them, but they are only filled with enough oil to last them for a couple of years. So this means is they would have to be very careful when running them to not burn too much oil. Now for the burning source. Now they do not have coal on this island. There's not a lot of coal supply, so they frankly have logs. Because come on, it's a logging company. Of course you're gonna have logs. So they use the logs to burn. Well, of course. What else would you use them for? To make campfires? Yes, that's stupid. Like, you're stupid if you thought they were going to use them, like, for what other things. Anyway, we are starting to get off topic, basically. Like, they lived there after the war and all that, and then the island became abandoned after British Railways no longer needed them, and blah, 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 you get the point. Now we're going to get to, basically, what I have planned, how they get to the island. I take some inspiration from Unlucky Tug and basically instead of putting with, we have Diesel and Percy going to the island by ship. Yeah, I do not have a tunnel, I have them going by ship. Including, I have the Search and Rescue Center play a bigger role in this as well. Captain is also coming with the big ship to search around the island, while Harold will search from the air. But Harold cannot do that much considering the whole island is covered in mist, so he wouldn't be able to get a good look down. Captain can't help because he can't go on land because, well, duh, he's a boat. But they do have hope. Once Percy and Diesel arrive, they start searching. Although Thomas, after finding out about the Jovi wood, he starts asking Bash, Dash, and Ferdinand to make a long train of Jovi wood to take to the island of Sodor. Now you're probably asking, how are they going to get to Sodor? Well, they have an idea, basically, to make a small, like a small help sign, basically. Like something to signal them. Like a big pole or something. You get the point. Like, you know about movies like Madagascar, how they did, like, this help wanted thing. Yeah, you get the point. Anyway, then at other points, is that then Percy and Thomas find each other. And they are so happy to see each other. Diesel is also there, and Thomas says, Wow, Diesel, you came back to help me even after I was so mean? Well, you helped me, I helped you, now we're even. So yeah, shut up. Yeah, I have that in there as a little joke. That's when Sir Tom Hat sees Bash Dash and Ferdinand, and he decides to bring them with him. Decides to bring Bash Dash and Ferdinand with them back to Sodor. Soon, at the end of the movie, the search and rescue center's rebuild is soon finally finished after almost months of construction. Bash Dash and Ferdinand are given full-on overhauls, and then Sir Tom Hat decides to give him the Heritage Railways. No, wait, I'm just kidding. Never mind. He decides to send them back to America to go back to where they used to live. And now they live in America doing work in logging companies. And this is what happened to them after that. Ferdinand was actually sent to a museum to live in. Then because he was considered a very old engine, it was considered a museum piece. So, a Heritage Railway soon purchased him and he was put on display. Bash and Dash, they were sent to another Heritage Railway to work, and then were then purchased by another log company. They never forgot about their old friend Ferdinand, and sometimes do still continue his old phrase, I'm Bash, and I'm Dash, and I'm Ferdinand. That's right. I tell you one thing, like, they are considered big memes among the Thomas fandom. Anyway, with other news, is that I have some other big news. And is that my version of Sodor Fallout, like, I know I've done talking about the Misty Island thing, is that about my version of Sodor Fallout is that I actually plan to make a few more types of episodes, basically, than what I said I would. Like, I said I was going to do, like, Percy's Predicament, the one and only Thomas, basically, Flora Suicide, Lonely Flora, bruh. And I currently have done right now Percy's Predicament. Yeah, I don't really have Percy die in my version. I have it to where I have, in my version of Soderfall, like my AU of Soderfall, is to where I have the main 11 survive, plus with Boko, Daisy, and Mavis. Like, some people have asked me why. Well, because I love these characters. These are some of my favorite characters, and I don't like in the original version of Soderfall where they die. I just don't like it. The only thing I like in the original Soderfall is that Edward and Henry are alive. Like, don't get me wrong, I do like Soderfall. I don't love it, I like it. Like, Thomas Friends, I love, and I consider myself a Thomas fan. But I do not consider myself a full Sodor Fallout fan. Considering is that, like, Duck, a fan favorite, was literally killed, and plus Oliver's like a monster. Gordon's dead. And James, like, dear God, man, what happened to you? What are you doing? Smoking crystal meth? That was a fake laugh. For my version of Swordfall, I actually plan on doing a new video soon, trying to scream. Where I have, like, Henry and Gordon at a station to where they see Spencer then. I am actually going to show you guys a small sneak peek of it, with me working on it. I'm going to show you guys this. Now, I do not have it all done, but I am actually going to show you guys it. Here we go. Here it is. This is a small part of it. They're in the station right now. And this is just what I wanted to show you guys. Gordon Henry in the station. Currently, I do not have all the edits done. I still need to get, like, some parts of it done. But this is just one part I wanted to show you. And this is another, and it just plays out like that. And that was the sneak peek of my version of Sodor Fallout. About the trying to scream. So yeah, don't suspect any more sneak peeks. Now, I'm actually wanting to accept questions, basically. So, if you guys have any questions for me, like about any Sodor Fallout things or anything, go ahead, ask me. I'll wait. Okay, time's up. I also wanted to do some like stuff like show you some deleted scenes basically I was going to add in the Sodor my version of Sodor Fallout. Like I know I already did a video about that, but I have some photos is that I never actually used in the original my version of Sodor Fallout. Fallout. And still, if you guys have any questions, you could leave them down in the comments and I will answer them though. Alright. Let's show you guys some like deleted photos I never actually used. It's because when I was doing the my version so far, some stuff I actually had to cut because like the audio I used had short limits basically, so I couldn't include like a lot, but I did try to include some stuff that would add my part into my version of the story. And this is one I wanted to show you guys. If you all remember for Christmas, basically, I wanted to do the How Diesel 10 Stole Christmas, and it was originally actually going to be edited. This is an old scene I was actually going to use, but I canceled on it, basically. How Diesel 10 Stole Christmas. This was going to be the original plan. I actually had a lot of photos actually already made to edit. Like we have James puffing down the track, basically. He sees Boko, and then he rides the docks. Then we have Titmuth Sheds with all the engines. And this was meant to be like the fun scene where you would see Sir Tom Hatt and his wife. Like, I know that's not Sir Tom Hatt's wife. Like, I do not know how to get that figure. And this was actually meant to be the scene of the mountain scene that you'd see. And this was just basically for what I did for Christmas. Yeah, those were some deleted scenes. That was actually a deleted part of that Christmas special. But I just felt like it would be confusing considering is that in my like stories, I do like my Wooden Railway series is that they're never edited. So I didn't really want that to happen, so I just decided just to do it live action. Like I was going to take my leap. Now to get this stream more interesting, I'm actually wanting to do a Sodor Fallout thing a bit. And I'm actually going to draw a Sodor Fallout for you guys. This is going to be me drawing the Sodor Fallout Oliver. I took this picture a while back, and I really wanted to do a edit of it. So today, guys, I will do a Sodor Fallout video. Like, this is part Sodor Fallout, and we are going to draw Oliver the Beast. Alright, let's do this. So I might not be like all talky when I do this, because what I usually do is I don't talk to myself. Like I don't talk to like. Okay, I think you guys get what I mean. Alright, we have the grass and red sky. Now we are going to start detailing the beast, basically. Now this is how I usually do, like, the blood, basically. I usually have it fully enhanced, and then I just, like, dab it like this. Yeah, anybody could do this, like, anybody. And then for the mouth, I do this. I shrink it down to that point. No, not that. Right to about there. And then I get the black. I shrink the face, and then I start like circling it. And we have that there. We've darkened the face. Now we're going to draw the mouth. And now we're going to draw the teeth. And we have the teeth. Hang on, I'm just going to add a bit more red around here a bit. There, now we have the mouth. Now we're going to draw the legs, basically. Alright. Okay, now we have the legs. Now we're going to add some more details, like, hang on. Do that. And put a bit of blood on the legs. And we're also going to do this. Nice. I'm also going to draw a face down there, like Oliver's face. There. I'm also wanting to do something else. Let's just do that carefully. Shrink that. Now, I've been a bit hesitant on, like, doing something like this, but... because I don't personally like that, but here we go. We're going to do... should I make it red or orange? Hang on. I gotta really shrink this down if I'm gonna make this work. Okay, now we're gonna draw that. You know what? No, screw the eyebrow. No, I ain't doing that. Now let's give him some like tentacles, basically like tendrils or whatever they're called. Actually, wait, let's just remove a bit of that. Actually, doesn't look too bad. Now, for extra detail, I like adding these like little brown orange things on the fronts. And there, that is how I draw my version of Silver Fallout. Now I know this is technically from the original Silver Fallout and not from the like my version, but I believe I did a good job with this. Now we just gotta wait for this to finish. And that is how I drew my version of the Sodor Fallout Beast Oliver. Or, as Tim at Thunderball likes to play it funnily, Olivor. I know it sounds stupid, but it's funny. Like, it's comedy, people. It's comedy. Anyway, these are just photos from when I was doing the Sodor Fallout. Now, for Halloween last year, as you all know, I attempted to do a video for actually on Halloween, but I changed the idea to do, like, the Halloween special for Halloween for the Timothy the Ghost Engine Part 2. This was going to stay on YouTube, but unfortunately was that I got a copyright claim about it, so I deleted it, so this way I wouldn't get copyright claimed. Now, on my whole channel, I actually found out that I only actually have one video that is copy claimed. And that would be my version of Sodor Fallout from when I did this. From this video. Like, basically from when I did this. Now, if you also do remember, was that I actually, in the old version of my version of Sodor Fallout, it was actually way different than when I had it. Like, there's still a lot of old things in here that I still hadn't deleted some things. Originally was that I was also going to have the, 14 experiment. And originally, Toad was never even going to be in the plot. I was actually having it to be Rickety. Now, I know that doesn't make any sense, but I just wanted to add him, I guess, as, a monitor thing. In the original my version of Sodor Fallout, the old version before I deleted the plot was very short, basically, because at the time, I wasn't actually going to make a part 3, or I wasn't even going to plan on making 6 parts. I was actually only planning on making 3 parts, and that was it. The first part being the main plot, basically, like how the original one would go. Like, Edward escapes the blast, here we go, this, basically. Edward escapes the blast, they meet James, D261 gets sent down the wrong line. Henry and Gordon see Spencer, the ironworks scene. The will meet again trope. Percy attempts to escape. Edward and him find a gang. Boko goes to Brendan. Yeah, all of this was going to be in the original version. But as I said, some stuff had to be cut short. And plus, in the original version, I actually had to delete it because I got copy claimed on it from the like All I Want thing, which I am still mad about. But I actually did like that because it gave me an advantage a bit. Was that if you all remember, and when I did that, like it was sort of like what I called like crappy a bit. Be a bit like it looked like that this was your beginning. But when I started actually experimenting, when I started learning more better how to like edit and all that, like I realized, dear God, I am going to be amazing. And look at me now, like I did really well with my version of Sodor Fallout, including even drew a lot of good stuff. Now, when the original like video, like for the like Sodor, my version, so it was originally going to start with this basically, but I canceled it because I just didn't really think it would work. Plus, for some reason, it didn't show up, so yeah, I was practically screwed there. But that was just some sneak peeks I wanted to show you guys, including like some deleted scenes and all that. Like basically give you guys like a bit of a treat because this was my first live stream. Anyway, I'm probably going to end the live stream here because it is 4 o'clock in the morning and I am really tired. So thank you for sticking around in this live stream, and I hope to see you all again in my videos. I am probably going to delete this stream though because of I do not know if this stream will actually stay up because I might actually plan on canceling the stream. But thank you all for being here, and I'll see you all next time. This is Train Lover 1974 signing off. Bye bye.